Well, it had to happen eventually. 3.5 years after the PC Engine launched, it finally got a pachinko game. And not just any pachinko game, the King of Pachinko. Well, actually, the King of Pachinko is a character in the games, so the boss of Pachinko. The Pachio-Kun series were the pachinko games in Japan throughout the early 90s. They started on the Famicom in 1987, and publisher Coconuts Japan made 20 of them before they stopped. The series came to a sudden, abrupt end in 1995, with a pair of compilations trickling out over the next few years after that. I have a theory why that might be, but I'm going to save it for just a moment, because first we need the Pachinko Primer. For decades, Pachinko could have been considered Japan's real national pastime. These gambling machines managed to dodge Japan's casino regulations with a wink and a nudge. You could only win low-value prizes at a pachinko parlor. Just don't ask about our connection with the guy next door who will buy those prizes for real money. Pachinko parlors were everywhere. It was impossible to go a block or two without encountering one of these mini casinos. The way that the game itself worked is you'd go in, and then they'd give you a bucket of ball bearings. You'd feed those ball bearings into a hopper on a pachinko machine, and then launch them up into the playfield. They'd bounce around some pegs, eventually either landing in a target, or more likely dropping all the way to the bottom without hitting anything. Hit a target, and more ball bearings come out of the machine, right into the hopper where you put your ball bearings. When you were ready to stop, assuming you hadn't run out of those little balls, go up to the clerk, and they'd have a machine that counted how many of those pachinko balls you had. And then, based on that number, you got your prize, which you definitely kept and did not take next door to exchange for money. While this is the traditional image of pachinko, this style of machine is long gone in Japan. The entire Japanese gambling industry transitioned pretty much overnight in the mid-90s to using what are essentially video slot machines. These initially had just enough connection to original pachinko machines that operators could go, "No, these are actually pachinko." But even that's gone now. I suspect that this transition is what killed the Pachio-Kun series, though the final Pachio-Kun game on the PC Engine does have those slot machines in it. On top of that, there is a PC Engine game that was the trigger for the destruction of pachinko, so we'll be seeing more pachinko versus pachi slot stuff in the future. Something that you may have noticed is that Pachio-Kun Maboroshi no Densetsu is a very expensive PC Engine game. Well, that's because you weren't just getting the game in the package. Pachio-Kun Maboroshi no Densetsu also came with the pachinko controller. Now, if you've watched my series on Famicom games, then you've already seen this before, but the PC Engine pachinko controller is actually the original one. The Famicom version won't be out for another 3 months. The controller has that odd shape because inside that gap is a grip designed to feel like the dial on the front of a pachinko machine. You twist it to determine how much force you'll launch pachinko balls with. And there's a bit of tension in the controller as well. It's spring-loaded and it pushes back against you. Now, if you don't have that controller, then you can still play Pachio-Kun Maboroshi no Densetsu. When the game starts, you can pick normal controls. And it does seem like it was possible to purchase both the controller and game separately, or at least the controller was available in its own package for 5,800 yen, and it seems like the game could be purchased separately, but I couldn't find a price for that one. Before you do anything else in this Pachio-Kun game, you have to actually play the game. There is a story here, but it doesn't start until after you've finished your first trip to the pachinko parlor. So you've got a map of New Tokyo, and Pachio-Kun drives his car the half block to the pachinko parlor. In a parlor, you can talk to the patrons by walking up to them and pressing button 1. And if you want to save your progress, then you talk to the counter clerk, and she will let you save to one of 4 slots. When you're ready to play pachinko, walk up to one of the machines, hit button 1, and you're off. Now the goal whenever you sit down at a machine in Pachio-Kun is to bankrupt that machine. All pachinko machines have 2,000 pachinko balls in them to start with. And Pachio-Kun has his own small number of balls to start with. At the beginning of the game it's 100, later on you'll start with more. You twist the dial on your Pachinko controller, or hit left and right, to adjust the force, and then press button 1 to start launching balls. If you're not using the Pachinko controller, then the force setting doesn't remain in place. It will slowly decrease on you. What you're looking for while you play is a sweet spot where you can consistently score. Some place where you'll be getting more balls out of the machine than you put in. Not all machines have this kind of spot though. You can get a little bit of extra information by pressing the select button and then choosing to view the pins up close. Then you can see which way the pins on that particular machine are bent, and maybe find something that will funnel you into a scoring point. If you ever run out of balls to put into a machine, then it's game over instantaneously. But if Pachio-Kun gets all 2,000 balls out of a machine, then he heads home and the game actually starts. While he was out playing, his wife was kidnapped, and his kidnapper wants him to find a rare pachinko machine called the Phantom. After a few words of encouragement from the Pachinko King, it's back to the same parlor so that you can keep cleaning out machines and eventually unlock additional pachinko parlors. I have one primary problem with Pachio-Kun Maboroshi no Densetsu. I mean beyond it being a pachinko game. It plays its background music continuously, even though the machines often have their own sounds and music. When you're in a bonus mode on a machine, it just makes a big layer of noise, which is very true to the pachinko experience, I guess, but still not very nice to listen to. Funny enough, the only positive comments I could find from Japanese players about the game were for that music. Yeah, gambling games have a shelf life, and Pachio-Kun Maboroshi no Densetsu is way past it. There's very little interest in going back to these kinds of games. Now, from my perspective, if you absolutely, positively had to play a pachinko game, then this would be fine. It has enough variety of machines, the ball physics aren't completely broken, you're still going to be sitting there for 20 minutes, watching as the ball counter for the machine goes down until it hits 0. But unlike real pachinko parlors, pachinko video games want you to win. So you actually can sit there for 20 minutes and eventually win. I think the only reason anyone would want to experience this would be if they were really obsessed with pachinko. And that is a vanishingly small group these days.